What's up, Bulldogs? All right, in this video, we're gonna be talking about managing expectations. Can you actually be friends with people when you don't allow them to put expectations on you and you don't put expectations on them? This is a very, very, very important theme, something I've talked about quite a few times on this channel. And if you haven't heard of this before, this can change your life, okay? Literally, this can change your life because so many of us are living with guilt. Okay, and we're putting guilt on other people, not really intending to, not understanding why we're doing it, and we're facing disappointment. If someone has ever let you down in your life, you need to watch this video. If you're just joining me for the first time, I'm John from BulldogMindset.com. On this channel, I teach you how to be a man. I teach you how to build financial independence, how to get the physique you want, how to get the girls you want, and how to go from the victim mindset to the Bulldog mindset. If that sounds like something that you are interested in, make sure you click the subscribe button. Join us on this journey of developing ourselves as men and take the Bulldog Quiz. It's up in the cards here, 10 questions. It will tell you if you're a Bulldog or not, or where you have to go. All right, so I got this, I think as a comment on one of my videos, and he said, "Hey, John, on a different topic, I have watched your video on YouTube in which you were saying to have no expectations from anyone and also not to allow others to have on you, but I have a question that how can friendship or relation can grow without expectations, or simply how to build strong friendships without expectations?" Okay, so this is a good question. You know, we're going to talk about exactly what I mean by not having expectations on people and not allowing them to put expectations on you. But once you understand that, then you might wonder how you can actually have relationships and friendships with people, because what you'll find is that in our life, most of our friendships, most of our relationships are based on expectations. In fact, they're not real friendships at all. I don't know if you have very many real friends or if you have fake friends, okay? And a lot of the fake friends that you have, they're relationships of expectation. So let's talk about this concept. First of all, what does it mean? What do I mean when I'm saying not to put expectations on people and not allow them to put expectations on you? All right? It's simple. It comes down to guilt. Okay? Have you ever felt guilty in your life? Okay, I know I have. And has someone made you feel guilty? Have they put an expectation on you that makes you feel guilty? Okay, probably you have. You know, parents are probably the most guilty of putting guilt on us, right? You need to call home more often, or you need to visit more often, or you need to do this for the family, right? That's a common guilt trip that we're put on from our parents, and it's pretty common. You know, it's not something that like they're maliciously doing intentionally, but it is something that makes us act in a certain way or to feel bad about ourselves, and it's a form of manipulation and control, okay? But it doesn't just extend to our parents. Like, most of us actually are guilty of this, and then we do this to other people, right? And by doing that, you're creating this guilt. You're creating sort of what's called an obligation. Feeling like you're under obligation, right? Do you feel like in a lot of relationships that you're in with people that you're expected to act a certain way or to do a certain thing, otherwise you're not going to be loved, or you're not going to be appreciated, or you're not going to get their approval, all right? This is very, very common, all right? Now, the problem with all of this is that when you are under obligation, or you force someone else to be under obligation, all right, what ends up happening is that the action is now compelled. So it doesn't have as much meaning. Right? If I feel like I have to do something because I'm obligated, because I feel guilty about doing it, it's not really me doing it, okay? I don't really care to do that thing. It's not genuine, okay? And I feel like I don't want to do that thing, all right? I feel resentment to some degree, all right? And it's the same thing applies when you put this on other people. When you put expectations on other people and you expect them to behave or act a certain way, it's very limiting to them. It puts them under an obligation, and it also hurts you. Let me talk about how it hurts you. All right, the way it hurts you is you experience disappointment. All right, if you expect people to behave in a certain way and they don't, what happens? You feel bad about yourself. You feel like, well, if they just cared more, if they actually loved me, if they actually, cared about what I feel or what I think, they would act this way, they would do this thing. But really what you're doing is you're putting an expectation on them. You have no right to control someone else's life. You have no right to put an expectation on another person, okay? And so if you want to free yourself from all of these really bad emotions, okay, feeling betrayed, feeling heartbroken, and all of these things, all you have to do is release those expectations on other people. Okay. And so, I developed this kind of philosophy in my life, and I'd struggled through this. I had went through this many times in life where I was under obligation to other people, right? I let them guilt trip me, and I would do all these things that I didn't want to do because I felt like I was going to let people down, or people were pressuring me, right? Or, I was going to lose their approval, or they're going to be mad at me, they're going to be angry at me, okay? And then at one point in life, I said, you know what? I'm done with all this, all right? I'm going to live my life however I want. I'm not going to allow anyone to put expectations on me. Guilt tripping me does not work anymore. If you're upset that I'm not doing what you want, well, that's your problem. It's not my problem. I did the same thing with other people. I also released them from expectations. I said, you know what? I don't have to have you in my life, but if I do have you in my life, I'm choosing to have you in my life however you are. I'm not expecting anything from you. You don't have to do anything, okay? If you do things that I don't like, if you're no longer valuable to my life, then maybe I won't have you in my life, but I'm not going to require you to do anything to gain my approval or to gain my love or for me to like you. I'm either just going to like you as you are, whatever you choose to do or not. Okay. And when I did this, all right, when I made this choice in life, a heavy burden was taken off of my shoulders. All of a sudden, I could live my life freely and I could feel good about doing it because I knew that I was letting every other person in my life live their life freely as well. Now, a lot of guys might be saying, well, wait a minute, does that mean that I can allow my girlfriend to cheat on me or people to disrespect me and abuse me? No, it doesn't mean that at all. Okay. In fact, you should have healthy boundaries that you don't allow people to cross, but it's different than putting expectations on them. Okay. To have a boundary is to talk about what you will accept in your life and what kind of behavior that you will or will not tolerate. It's all about you and your decision. To have an expectation is to say that this person must behave this way and that you're going to be upset or disappointed if they don't do that. You're putting a pressure on them. Okay. I know it might seem like the same thing, but it's very, very different, right? So for example, let's say you have a girlfriend and you put an expectation on her that she needs to not cheat on you and she needs to tell you where she's going to be and she shouldn't talk to other guys and that she should just care about you and not be interested in any other guys. Okay. That is an expectation, and let's say that she violates that expectation. Let's say that she goes and she's at a party and she gets drunk and she makes out with some guy. Okay. I'm not saying that there's not going to be any emotion involved. I'm not going to say that you're not going to be upset at all, but it's a much different thing when someone has aggressed against you because you had an expectation on them and they didn't fulfill that expectation. So you're disappointed in them versus someone aggressing against you because they violated one of your standards or boundaries, which is not an emotional thing, right? When we allow people to be free, we also free ourselves from the pain of trying to put expectations on people, because the truth of the matter is that people will never behave exactly how we want, and people will let us down, and they will do things that they choose to do as free agents, just like we do things that other people would not want us to do. But regardless, we choose to have people in our lives or not, all right? We don't have to base our worth and how we feel about ourselves based on whether or not someone has met our expectations. So we can release the expectations, but we can still have a standard for ourselves and our relationships with people and for people that we are going to associate with and have relationships with, and we can still have boundaries. So now we come full circle to talking about this in terms of friendship relationships, right? He said, I have a question, how can a friendship or any relation can grow without expectations, or simply how to build strong friendships without expectations? And my answer, is pretty simple. You probably will have gathered it by now if you've been listening to the video, which is this, is that the best friendships, the best relationships are the ones without expectations. When you're in bondage to someone, okay, because you feel like you have to do certain things or you have to act a certain way, you're not being authentic. It's not true. Okay. Whereas when you're free, when you can do whatever you want, but you choose to act in a certain way or to do certain things, then it is authentic. It's true. It means a lot more, right? You can't really express love to someone if you're doing it out of obligation. But when you're free to do whatever you want, okay, then the things that you do are meaningful. Like, think about giving gifts, right? How many times you have to get a gift for someone because it's their birthday or it's Christmas or whatever. The gift really doesn't have very much meaning for the most part, right? They open it up, they're surprised, they say, oh, wow, thank you so much. They act like they're grateful, but they really know that you're obligated. Whereas you just randomly, for no reason, give them the gift, how much better does that feel? okay? Or if you've been on the other end of that, right? How much better does it feel knowing that someone did something only because they care about you, not because they felt obligated, not because they had some expectation. So when we talk about friendships, when we talk about relationships in general, you cannot have a true relationship. You cannot have a true friendship when it's built completely out of obligation and expectation. If you have expectations on a person and then they perform those expectations, okay, well, they're just doing what they're supposed to do in order to be in a friendship with you, okay? And they're doing it, a lot of it, because you have the expectations on them. You don't know what their true motives are. You don't know what they really feel about something. But when you release the expectations, when you say, hey, we're friends or we're in a relationship at will, either of us, the only reason why we're here, the only reason why we're friends, the only reason why we are boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever it is, whatever relationship, is because we both choose to. We make our own choices and our actions, and you're free to do whatever you want, and I'm free to do whatever I want. And if it so happens that we both really value this relationship, we won't do things to hurt each other. We won't do things to violate each other's boundaries, okay? And we will maintain each other's standards, but not because someone is forcing us with the threat of we're going to be upset about them, or we're going to break up with them, or whatever the thing is, right? Instead, we're doing it out of our own volition. That's the key. So a couple of things here, guys. One thing is I've got a video. It's called Why You're Unhappy. Okay, we'll put a link in the cards, also in the description. I talk about some of these topics. If you're interested in this and you're feeling unhappy, watch that video, because one of the things that's going to make you unhappy in life is having expectations on people. When you start releasing expectations, not just on people, but on life in general, you will find that your happiness level will go up a lot more. Okay, so watch that video. It's called Why You Are Unhappy. All right, and then another thing that I want to tell you about also, if you haven't already, check out the Bulldog Mindset membership. I've got a link down below for a $7 trial to get in for the first month. And the reason why I say this is because you need to be in a community of men that are supporting and helping each other and helping you with issues like this, all right? The more that you're around people like that, and really in a place where there's not expectations, right? That's one of the things that I pride myself in the Bulldog Mindset community, is we don't have expectations, okay? You can come in there and you can be yourself, and wherever you're at your stage in life, and there's no obligation. You just be yourself, okay? And you learn and you grow with other men. It's a really powerful experience. If you haven't been part of that, check it out. And I've got a lot of lessons in there teaching you things about mindset that are really critical about building a business and improving your physique and getting better with women. I think that's a really huge topic for a lot of guys today. Another one, I'll give you another video here, which is why alpha males have a low tolerance for women. Okay, this is also another video. There'll be a link down below as well. But this is also about not having expectations, but instead having boundaries. If you're having trouble understanding what the difference between a boundary and a standard is versus an expectation, I think that video will help you, because you'll understand what is in your power, which for a lot of you guys, the power that you wield, which is better than expectations, is the power to walk away. When something is not suiting your needs as an alpha male, what you do is you leave. You leave the situation. You don't have relationships with people who are not serving you in some way. And when I say serving you, I mean that they're not good for your life, okay? That don't care about you, that are constantly violating your boundaries and standards. Again, that video is called Why Alpha Males Have a Low Tolerance for Women. There'll be a link below.